Hey guys, it's Kristen. Good evening. I did film earlier and I ran out of time because I have just been so busy this week. It's been a hectic week and I've had a lot going on, not only like physically in my life, but emotionally, and dealing with all of my emotions and everything that's popped up has been very healing, but also uncomfortable. Yeah, so I I started having, negative thoughts come up last night where, I tend to self-sabotage myself a lot and things, or I always think I maybe could do better in anything that I'm doing in my life, and question myself a lot, and I've realized while doing a lot of healing right now is when that comes up that to take the time to figure out where it's coming from and to get a hold of it. And I am definitely working. I'm working really hard. I've been very isolated the last few months because I have just been dealing with a lot in my head, and especially since my mom passed this year, and wanting to do this and that brought up a lot of things. It's just been a time of just sitting with myself, but I also know that I can't keep continuing to stay isolated, that I need to go and do stuff and like go live a life and not just be at home and be a hermit crab. Because even though even though in my personality I do have to have time to myself, and I do need a lot of time to myself, and especially in relationships, in everything I need time to myself because I need time to get everybody's energy off of me, especially if that's in the world, if I've read something, or just even on Facebook or a stranger. And that's why right now I'm not really on social media a lot. I'll post my videos on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll try to get on a little bit and see what's going on. But right now it's just, I'm trying to figure out where my energy is going, and to make sure that when I am having issues of things coming up like this, to make sure that it's still me and my energy and not someone else's or anything like that. And so that's something that I've been working on this week. I've been trying to yeah, it's been, growing pains are not fun at all. It's not fun. Nobody tells you about your Saturn return, and if you don't know what, astrology, your Saturn return is around, well, obviously when you're 30, but it starts around when you're 27, 28. It's when you start feeling the effects of it. And that's whenever, if you're not doing the right thing that you're supposed to be doing in your life, or you're not on the correct path, you still have bad habits, you haven't healed, there's just things that you obviously have not let go of, especially your childhood. So your Saturn return will fuck some shit up for you to move you on to adulthood. And it really is the weirdest time of my life. It's been the hardest time of my life, but now that I'm doing things that I know I'm supposed to be doing, it's actually been one of the best times in a really long time for me, especially with the going through patterns and habits and what I'm doing and what I need to be continuing to do to grow and be better. I haven't I haven't done any of that since I was like 15 years old. And it's hard to say that I just don't like dealing with pain or trauma or things that make me hurt or rejected. And I just never wanted to go in and look at that. So, yeah. So this week has just been trying to deal with energies and figuring out, making sure and being careful on that. That's kind of what has popped up. And I'm also seeing people talk about how they are looking into different things in their lives on what they want to do with their life. And it's really cool to kind of see that, because that's kind of where most of us are at right now, especially with Pluto and Capricorn and Pluto and Aquarius. We're in the middle right now, and it's in between two. So we haven't seen Pluto and Aquarius, and obviously we're still part of Pluto and Capricorn. But Pluto and Capricorn, I am just glad Pluto and Capricorn is going to be bye-bye. Because I had struggled with Pluto and Capricorn. I am not materialistic. My wounds from money made me look like I was materialistic or superficial, because I did not know how to communicate what was going on in that aspect of that wound. And because of that, it came off as like being materialistic. And I've never been that way. I've always said that whoever I was with, if you want to pack your stuff and just go somewhere and change your whole life, let's go. We wait for, I have unfortunately lost, it seems like almost everything multiple times in my life. And that's including whenever I lose a job and I lose money, and then I lose everything else that comes with it. And this has happened in my life multiple times. And this was something in Pluto Capricorn that I have had to deal with. And it was just a rough time to go through, because especially people in Pluto and Capricorn are very critical. And we've seen that people want you to act and be a certain way. And especially even with moms, like with motherhood, if you're breastfeeding, if you're doing formula, are you a stay-at-home mom? You work from home, I could go on and on about all of that. And it's toxic, and it's like they want you to be this perfect mom that it's just not possible. It's not possible. The same thing with, fathers and everything, but also, what is success? That's when influencers came big, obviously, and when, YouTube was pulling up, and Big Pharma, the government. These were a lot of things where now we're seeing the changes. Obviously, some of them that need to be changed, but because we've kind of let leeway on things, we're obviously going to have to fight together, as a collective, on things that, like human rights, basically. So really what I wanted to talk about today, because I don't know, I really I did a video earlier with this, and it really kind of put me off, because I tend to talk a lot about myself, And it's not because I'm doing it out of self-centeredness or like conceited or anything like that. I'm trying to put me in there to put a story and relate. And it just seemed like the video that I did earlier today, it just seemed a little bit like I talked way too much about me and myself. And it was kind of what all the same reductant things that I was saying the last few weeks. And this week, I really wanted to not do that, but also be very kind of honest about what was going on this week and what was happening with me. And not only that, it's, we're going into this new age where it's not about materialism, it's about passion. And what do you feel that you should be doing in your life? What gives you that good feeling, especially when you were younger? I mean, I'm going to say this as whenever I started dancing, especially in high school when I was 14, 15 years old, I will always remember that feeling and how I felt and how excited and just ready to dance the next day and just ready to learn new things and keep going. And that's kind of what's going on right now. And especially with me is I feel like I'm 14, 15 again with this. It's like exciting and different. I'm doing something completely different. And people may think, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. You're just posting videos. And some people, it is though a big deal because you have no idea what they go through or what their story is. And for me, it's a huge deal, especially with how my life has been laid out the last 15 years and what's been going on. And especially with now me reading my astrology chart and kind of understanding more about myself and others. And that's kind of what the collective is going through right now is they're trying to figure out who they are and what they want to do. People are starting to just go on adventures and go out and do things again. And that's exciting. I think that's great. I've always been supportive of anybody. That's the other thing is I've always had a hard time having friends and, I guess like being in a whole social group, which I would love. I know in the future that will happen and it'll help me grow and I'll have to definitely learn. And there's going to be times where it's going to be definitely difficult for me because there's wounds there that will come up and I'll have to deal with. But I've always been the one to go into different friend groups and what they call wander, I guess. And I'm okay with people being whoever they want to be. Somebody comes to me and they tell me they're an atheist, great, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to try to force that person or force what I believe in on that person. And I love hearing new things and different perspectives from other people. I definitely do need to try to be more open on other people's opinions. I will listen, and it's definitely intriguing to me, but I definitely do need to be more open on other people's perspectives and know that if people are being open with mine, I need to be more open with others and understand that there are people who can talk about the same thing, but it's in a very specific, different, unique way. And I think that's really cool, but it's also almost in sync of how that should be, especially in Pluto and Aquarius, that there will be people who are talking about these things, but in different ways. And others can go and look at and watch these other people and listen to them. And still, even though the other people are talking in a similar manner but different way, it's still getting the collective together and on the same mindset and the same connection there. And that's what's funny is I looked at my chart, and I don't know if you're not in astrology, whatever, but it's really interesting to me. And I was always taught growing up, especially in strict Baptist church, and even whenever I wasn't religious, it was always that astrology is of the devil, it's evil, and you're just messing with bad stuff whenever you I guess look into astrology, or if you like astrology, I don't know. But I'm not just doing astrology of just looking up sun signs and going, oh yeah, I'm a Pisces and this is what's going on this month. No, I'm looking in deep of a lot. What's so interesting to me about astrology is that not only have I realized that it is extremely accurate, especially with my birth chart, not only mine, but with people that have been close with me, is that you will continue to keep learning something new about it. And because of my curiosity, especially Gemini rising, and I have a lot of Aquarius in my chart too, is I love learning new things. I basically want to learn something new once, and then I'm on to the next thing and on to the next thing. And that's what keeps me so interested in astrology, is there is literally unlimited amount of information and transits and houses all with that together, that you could learn so many different perspectives, so many different meanings. One thing could mean differently in each house and transit, and it's so interesting to me. I really like it. And that's the thing, is me putting out videos more in the future and talking about certain things. And like I said, I don't know if these videos, if I in the future will continue to keep talking about these things. It's just whatever happens, happens. And I'm not going to have expectations of where this is going. I'm just doing this. And, let go, let God, right? And yeah, so, I was looking at my birth chart, and so in my communication, well, we'll talk about my communication real quick in just a second, but so I do have Pisces sun, I am a Taurus moon, and I'm a Gemini rising. If you don't know anything about astrology, you can definitely look up your birth chart for free online, and you can just, if you're interested, you can learn and see if you like it, or if you don't think good of it or anything. I'm not going to try to change your mind about that, but it's definitely interesting. But before I even got into astrology, I already had a feeling that I was supposed to be doing, speaking out, doing videos. And when I started doing, kind of looking more into astrology and learning, this was after I had my near-death experience with septic shock in 2019, is I looked in my chart and basically confirmed that that's what I am meant to do, or what they say is you have you have your sun, moon, and rising, and your sun is your personality. I would say mainly your Gemini rising. Your rising sign is more of who you are. It's more of who you show than your actual sun sign. So anyways, my Pisces sun is in the 10th house, which is in career, and my midheaven is also in the 10th house. And so my communication is Mercury and Aries in the 10th house. So Mercury and Aries is, strong-willed. It's good speech. And I mean, you can look all of this up, but for people who know astrology, it'll make sense to you here. Me just saying it. And then I do have, what did I write here? I should know this already, but like I said, I've got things going on in my head and scrambling. So so Mars in Aquarius in the 11th house. And that is basically that I am meant to learn to be in groups working with groups, I guess, with coworkers. And also it's something with me learning to take authority over myself. And that's been something that's been extremely difficult most of my life. And that's what I'm doing. And then I do have Saturn and Aquarius in my 11th house as well. And I am in my Saturn return right now in my 9th house. So that's been fun. And then I do have a North Node in Capricorn in the 10th house. All of this comes into basically what I'm getting here is my chart is basically saying that I am meant to, for something for my career, I'm meant to speak out or be a teacher or spiritual teacher or whatever it is. And I already had this intuition feeling before I even went into my astrology chart and read it. And I still didn't know when the right time was going to be. All I knew was I tried to pick it up. The first time I think it was in 2019 when it came up. And anytime I tried to pick it up, something really bad would happen. And it's almost like what I would say is like a spiritual attack is what I would say. Like something does not want me to do this. Or it's something where I'm just being told it's just not time. Either way, anytime I picked it up, something bad would happen. And I knew kind of in the end of 2021, I just finally said, well, it doesn't matter what happens in 2022. I'm going to do it. And my life is crazy. My life is crazy. I know everybody has crazy lives too, but my life is crazy because I was all excited. I had posted on Facebook saying 2022 is going to be my year. It's going to be my year. It's going to be main character year for me. And I was excited, and that's great. It's good to be excited and passionate about something. That should be human experiences to have that. And yeah, but unfortunately, my mom died, and then it was one of those things where it's like I would never have thought that all of this stuff that's happened this year and where I'm at right now, it's the most incredible thing, especially for me. And it really honestly shows how strong I really am. And it shows me that I am very capable of dealing with hardships and painful things in life. And unfortunately, that's something I will continue to go through because for whatever reason, I have to go through extreme, sudden changes in my life, especially loss, because it's a reason for learning so I can speak about it and so that I can help other people. And it sucks that I have to go through these things just to help other people, but at the same time, I've always loved helping other people. And yeah, so I just want to talk a little bit about that chart. And then, so Pluto and Aquarius. Stop being materialistic. You know, technology's going to grow or technology is going to go bye-bye. Either one. You know, people may not believe that or think that I'm just crazy, or insane, either one. But you know what? That's what makes me special. And unfortunately, with Pluto and Aquarius, we have, what was it in Aries? I think it was Saturn in Aries, or Jupiter in Aries. Either one is war, which will start sometime next week. It's really kind of already started, and people may think I'm crazy, but you know what? Things are going to change. If you have been used to relying on other people for resources in life, and you don't have a backup plan or a job, hopefully you know people, because that's what Pluto and Aquarius is about, is groups and people, and we're going to have to come together, and we're going to have to help each other and be there for each other, and we're going to have to get in the same alignment. Definitely, we will definitely have to figure out how to do that. And we definitely need to stop the fear mongering that's going on, because that's what the dark has continued to do for however long, and they're still doing it. And if you're falling for it still, stop. Really stop. Because it doesn't matter what happens, we will get through it. When we went through the recession in 2008, we made it through. The things in your life that you thought that there's no way that I'm going to get through this, you made it through. I'm not saying that you're not still struggling over that, whatever that is or whatever's going on, but somehow we end up making it through, and that's what will happen. And there's no point of living in fear, and especially with the unknown, because a lot of the things now is, if you're also used to planning stuff, that's going to go bye-bye as well. And it's going to be a lot of going with the flow and just live life, you know? And that's the thing that I love about with children, because that's something that really inspired me again with my sons and watching them, is because they will go and do whatever and they have no fear. Until, they get hurt and they get scared or cry or whatever, but that's a natural reaction. But when it goes to doing new things, children just, they don't even think about it. They don't even think about it. They just do it. And they think about the consequences later, but they just go and do it. And it's really made me think about that, as well as wow, it is sad that we criticize ourselves so much, and we tell ourselves things or other people and or you want a validation from others to feel better, but it doesn't matter. It's a fact of we have let certain circumstances and our own heads and ourselves to basically be fearful of doing anything or even going into the unknown, because especially when with us being in Pluto and Capricorn in 2008 it was, like I said, it was judgmental, extremely judgmental, and it was all big about material and what you have, your car and your house and what you're wearing, and what was your job? What do you do for your occupation? How much do you get paid? Oh, did you go to college? You're going to college, right? And getting a good job so you can make good money, right? Even though, did you really want to do that job? Were you happy to do that job? Were you told to do that job? Or did you just also pick that job because you still were unsure, but you picked it for a major because you just needed something that would make you stable and secure in the future, instead of actually thinking about passion and something that you would love to do? I've I've done it because I felt that there was times I felt like I didn't have a choice. And there have been times where I couldn't I couldn't do what I wanted to do at that time, because there were things that were going on in my life that I couldn't do it. And but there were times that I could have and I didn't. And I really want people to look into themselves right now. And if you are happy with where you're at, that's fine. That's great. That's awesome. You know, if you are happy with where you're at, you know, then maybe look into yourself and ask you some questions. Definitely ask you some questions on, is there anything that you need to work on with yourself? Have you worked with your shadow side, your dark side yet? And if you have, are there anything else? Is there anything else that needs to be looked at in your life? Is there anything else that may be causing issues or uncertainty at this time? Because if there is doubt or not a for sure answer, then you definitely need to look at those things in your life right now and figure out if you really want that in your life or not. Life is too short. Life is definitely too short, for sure. And we only have so much time. Shit, I don't even know. I may die tomorrow. But guess what? I did what I wanted to do for the last 3 years. And people may think, well, that's kind of pathetic, or whatever, I don't care. But you know what? I did it. I did it. I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. And right now, I am I'm extremely happy about myself and doing this. For real. And that's what I want people to do. I want people to look in and see. And if you have that opportunity and you've always wanted to do something different, and you've known that you wanted to do something different and would have enjoyed something better, go for it. You never know. You know, a lot of people think that just because that they would go into the unknown and do something different, that it's not going to work out, or they think the worst, I guess. And trust me, I've that's all I used to do in my life, is because, you know, I'd have one thing after another happen and after another, and would just think, oh, you know, that's just, I would always think the worst, like the worst case scenario, and try to have backup plans for backup plans. And usually it was never really that bad. Now that I look back on it, I just at that time, we are our own worst critics, honestly, for real. And especially with the spiritual community right now, yeah, you know, it's great to be spiritual. It's great. Yeah, it's awesome to have something that you are passionate about, and you're going out and expressing that, and that's what you do for a career or just for a hobby or whatever. But you know, we do need to be careful on things that we say to the public, especially because things that we say is definitely influencing. And it doesn't matter if it's just one person or 5 people. It has still a ripple effect. And this is a time now, especially when moving into more the new age, to let go of the Pluto and Capricorn criticizing or thinking that your way is the right way, or this is good, this is bad. Because who is to tell you what is good and what is bad in your life? There is bad and there is dark, for sure. And most people that are awake and know what's going on know the dark and know what's bad. But I'm talking about, I'm giving an example with spirituality is, you know, you can only manifest to the highest level if you are a vegetarian and only drink water, and you have to exercise. It's just things like that. It's not, and I'm trying to think of other scenarios within that, but it's what I'm talking about is people that will say that, almost insinuating that they're telling you what you should think. I'm here to not be that way. And if I ever am, definitely call me out on it, because I don't want to be that way. I have always been accepting and wanting to have people be their own unique individual person and love them for who they are. I know definitely with my unhealed wounds, I definitely did send out projection and criticizing, because I could see the potential in people in my life, or who was in my life or is in my life, and would tell them what they should do or what's going on. And I'm having to learn that you also can't do that either, because even though it's good intentions to try to let somebody know that you love, or whoever's around you, to wake up to something that could make them move forward and be better, is not your job to do. And they will learn on their own time. And if they don't, that's when you have to let those people go. Because there's going to be a time when you do change and you do grow and you are on a different path, and those people that you've been with, you may have to say goodbye. And it's not easy to say goodbye at all. It's not. But would you rather stay in a situation with the same people and just stay in a safe situation? Or would you rather go into the unknown and actually be in a better place? It's really kind of that simple. But people right now are just trying to figure out who they are and what they're here for. And I really do hope that all of you guys figure that out. And it's okay. It's okay if you can't figure that out right now. I know I did say that you probably should figure that out. I mean, you should. You definitely should. But I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And whether or not you believe in God, but I believe God's timing is always right. And just because you also do have astrology transits that say that you're meant to do something at a certain time does not mean that that's the right time. I don't take astrology as a step-by-step, that's how I live my life. I just look at it to just interested, curious to see if that really does happen or not. But it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do, especially even when in high school, after I couldn't dance anymore. I sat there and I just couldn't. Everybody was going to college and I felt like failure because I was not going. And everybody was talking about how they knew what they wanted to do, and no, they didn't. Most of them did not. But at the time, it just felt like I was just behind. And just because you're not in a spot where you think you are right now does not mean that you're behind at all. At all. You are actually where you're at and where you need to be at now. There will be a time whenever you figure that out, for sure. And there's going to be times you think you may figured it out and that's not it. But it leads to something else that's better than what you thought it was. So just kind of leave that in mind. And yeah, that's what I kind of wanted to talk about in this video tonight. There was kind of something else that I wanted to talk about, but I will leave that for tomorrow. I really want to try to do a video tomorrow, maybe Sunday. Definitely need to do it. I have been having to learn, like I said, especially with working with groups and especially with career, is I am either too focused on my job to like, or I'm overworking and overdoing, or I'm just not. And I'm just not motivated and no consistency of responsibility, of taking that authority, of healthy responsibility. And today I definitely, it came up for me, and I kept trying to tell, my shadow, my shadow self was like, no, I'm just going to do it Monday. And I had to sit myself down and tell myself that, no, I'm doing this video. And I did, which is funny. And then I completely knew that I needed to redo and film again, because it just, to me, it just didn't feel right. And yeah, it just didn't feel right. And so that's why I did this video. And I'm sure, like I said, I'm really trying to do more, and I need to do more. I need to be more focused. I am more focused right now, especially with messages and things that are coming in, and I'm writing them down. I am taking the time to do that every day. And that is, I'm taking steps that I have never taken in my life. And it's like, I feel like a little kid again. Just, you have no idea, and I'm just going for a ride right now. And if you're in that spot, I am with you. And it's fun right now. It is so fun, because wherever this leads, and like I said, if it doesn't, it doesn't, but wherever this leads in the future, I'm going to love looking back at these videos, because that's what's going to be the treasure of it all, is to go back and look at these first few videos of me talking and watching myself grow. And that's some good shit right there, But on that note, I will see you sometime this weekend. And have a good night.